Both of my parents attended Rice. When my daddy was 15, his father died, and he worked really hard at Reagan High School, which was in the Heights, where my mother also attended. I believe she was a year behind him in school. But anyway, he got a scholarship to Rice. Along with the scholarship, of course, in those days there was no tuition, but they paid for his room and board and his books and 2 suits of clothes every year so that he had something to wear. And then, of course, he worked in the summers. But I had this wonderful poster of his that was for physics tutoring, and it was $1. Now, that was a lot of money in the early 30s. So he made $1 an hour tutoring, and I understand he filled up the physics halls, and that's what he used for some of his spending money. But so in 1937 he graduated, and he had an honors in physics degree, and he and my mother started doodlebugging. He had one of those exemptions from going to war because he was the primary person in his company who was searching for oil, which is what we needed, of course, for the war. And so they moved 39 times, and that's what doodlebugging was. You just were like a little doodlebug, and you moved from one oil field to the next. So he then became a geophysical consultant, and they had 3 children. My sister Judy was born on their first anniversary in 1938. And when she was 5 years old, my mother took her to get her shots, and the pediatrician used a dirty needle, and she got hepatitis. Then she got osteomyelitis and meningitis, and she died when she was 11 of cirrhosis of the liver. And that was kind of that was, of course, a big event in our lives to lose our sister. My brother was almost 3 years older than I was. And so when my daddy used to travel, we had to get up. Even if he left at 6 o'clock in the morning, the whole family got up to have breakfast together because he said he didn't want to miss a minute with his kids. And so he was really a great father. My mother was absolutely wonderful. She acted as his secretary, and we had a funny story about that. My father had a client call him, and he said, "Oh, I can't talk to you right now. My secretary's sitting in my lap." And it was several months later before the man found out that the secretary was my mother. He had been very disappointed in my father. So that was fun. But they had a wonderful life together. When my daddy died, my mother started a scholarship here for Paul and June Farron Scholarship. And so when she died, I added to it.